Hello and welcome back to The Fruit of Grisaia, Sachi's route. In the last episode, Yuuji took up his idea of trying to relieve Sachi from potential stress, by, as her boyfriend, helping her out with the chores. The first chore, help Michiru clean her room. That led to Yuuji saying that if the girls needed anything, they could always come to him. For once, however, it wasn't actually Michiru who got things mixed up. It was instead Makina, who then got to tell the message on to a certain housewife, who then, obviously, through Makina's words, got things a bit misconstrued. Let's continue. My previous school, when compared to your more conventional learning institutes, operated on a decidedly extreme educational philosophy. As a representative example, an instructor once showed us a plain white cup, loudly insisted it was even greener than you fresh-faced little shits. He then spent the entire lesson ensuring none of us dared think otherwise. Those relatively new to the place tended to spend a good deal of time grumbling about how insane all this was. But when the time came and we were dumped out into the field, those who survived eventually came to understand that these hazing sessions were in fact surprisingly meaningful. Point being, when you need to produce results that can't be achieved using ordinary methods, sometimes it's necessary to satisfy unfair demands. And through my steadfast dedication to this principle, I currently find myself playing the role of a devoted maid serving a capricious master. Yuuji, where's that cold drink? Coming. As Amanda reclines indolently on the sofa, I carefully bring over a freshly brewed cup of tea. Since you didn't specify anything in particular, I brought milk tea. Is that acceptable? Huh? Gotta say, I wasn't really expecting tea from you, Yuuji. Well, unlike Sachi, I don't have a fully stocked supply locker. I ran over and borrowed this from Chizuru's room. There's no way you have permission, is there? No, but that's the price you have to pay for these high-quality ASM leaves. Not easy to get your hands on them lately. I don't really know much about Asam. Are you supposed to drink it with milk? Yeah, compared to something like Darjeeling, Assam tea is pretty strong, both in color and taste. To mellow that out a little, people usually dilute it with milk before drinking. It complements the flavor nicely. You're pretty knowledgeable about tea, huh? I've always had you down as more of a coffee, black type of guy. I do drink coffee more often, yeah, but black tends to upset your stomach. And if I'm drinking something other than water, I usually try to get some sugar intake while I'm at it. As a general rule, I tend to drink my coffee heavily sweetened. Huh? Seems like you think about this stuff more carefully than I would have guessed, Yuuji. Compared to the fine calorie counting you're always doing, it's hardly anything worth mentioning. But your meals are always so plain. It's definitely a little weird. Having declared my willingness to serve in Sachi's place, I ended up waiting on Amane hand and foot all morning like some kind of personal servant. But after the way that conversation went yesterday, I guess I should be grateful she hasn't tried any seriously shady orders. Alright, Amane, if you got any other requests, go ahead and tell me now. Huh? You're still up for more? If you're going to ask me at some point, might as well get it out of the way now instead of later. Oh, that's so. Well then, maybe I'll take you up on that. Why don't you go borrow a maid uniform from Sachi and we'll see how it looks on. Goodness, Miss Amani, you seem rather fatigued. Do allow me to give you a shoulder rub. Firmly seizing Amani's shoulders as I cut off her sentence, I dig my thumb sharply into the muscles around her neck. I sort of figured that one might be a bridge too far. Whatever are you saying, mistress? This is nothing but an earnest expression of concern on my part. Well, I got to see you role-playing as a butler, so I guess I'll let you off the hook this time. Thank you very much. But I gotta say, Yuuji, you're really good at this. Amanda smirks in evident satisfaction at my submissive words, but soon enough she's squirming underneath my vigorous shoulder rub. Speculating from what I've been seeing of Sachi's behavior, there seems to be two methods of coping with problematic requests like this one. Either attempt to interject before the words are fully out of their mouth, or deliberately fail to hear them. Of course, I don't think Sachi's consciously trying to be dishonest, but it's the fact that she's managed to slip past some difficult requests using this sort of plausible deniability technique. But given the absolute nature of laws Sachi imposed on herself, careless words without any real malice behind them could easily lead to disaster. To live a halfway decent life under such restraints, utilizing these kinds of grey areas is probably an absolute necessity.
Hey, Sachi, just look at this unbelievably predacious older woman abusing Oni-chan's noble offer to do her bidding. Doesn't it make you want to plot?
I think you probably meant to say audacious, but either way, Yukun and Amane-san seem to be having fun, so what's the harm?
Are those peepers of yours functional, girl?
I have 2015 visions in both eyes, actually.
The more I ask you about this sort of thing, the more word I get about you, Sachi.
More importantly, aren't you planning to ask Yukun for anything, Martin?
Oh, good point. No reason to let Amane hog him all day, is there?
Yes, I don't believe the offer was restricted to Amane-san.
Alrighty, since that's settled, we're beginning the Oni-chan reconquist operation at once.
Aye, ma'am.
Hey there, Amane-san, we got a little bone to pick with you. How about calling it a day with this boy toy role-playing, kiddo?
Guess you're right. Can't monopolize him too much. Don't want Michiru sticking push pins in her Amane voodoo doll or anything.
I don't have any freaking voodoo dolls! Oh crap!
From nowhere in particular, there's an outraged burst of protest, followed immediately by the sound of someone scampering up the stairs. Probably safe to assume a certain nosy airhead was observing a little role-playing session from a fixed point in the shadows.
Okay, the ex-wife gave the go-ahead, so now it's our turn to enjoy some Oni-chan time.
Okay, but what exactly were you hoping to do with Yukon?
Well, since Sachin's joining in too, let's have a group study session. Okay, you don't gotta look at me like I said Qa'Rajh aced the test. Even a thick-skinned little lady like myself has feelings, you know.
Come on, you're always going on about how much you hate studying. And now this all of a sudden? Of course I'd be surprised.
Amane, I just had a long overdue revelation.
A revelation?
Yep. Get too caught up whining and fussing about the little things and you end up like a certain someone, letting your whole life slip by.
Shoo! Who dares? Who dares spread slander about my age? I kinda know who you're talking about, but am I the only one who finds this sudden change of heart a little fishy? Well, whatever the reason may be, trying to improve your weakness is an admirable thing. I'll gladly help out.
Alright, Oni-chan obtained.
Okay, if you're really going to study, where should we do it? My room?
In the classroom at school, of course.
Why the classroom?
'Cause your room stimulates my parasympathetic nervous system something fierce. I'd be face down and drooling in the books in no time.
Whoa, it's almost like she's seriously planning to do this. Maki-chan suggested this all on her own, after all. I think it would be wise to begin before she changes her mind. Sounds about right. Although our study session began with this relatively auspicious show of determination, it was less than an hour before the group's attention began to wander. In the end, I was forced to endure an hour-long session of Strip Old Maid on a whim of Makinas. Man, in the end, Yuuji didn't even lose once. As we make our way back to the dorm, Amane grumbles a few resentful words, arms folded behind her head. Any card game comes down to how well you can read your opponent. When you got the hang of that, the odds of finishing at the very bottom get pretty low.
Man, when you rattle off a string of wins like that, it's only natural to suspect a little funny business.
Incidentally, Amane, you tend to leave the card you want to get rid of right in the middle of your hand. And Makina, your expression always makes it crystal clear when you get the old maid. Was I seriously doing that? At my old school, cards were the most convenient form of entertainment by far. Couldn't help but pick up an eye for tells. Even after I started at Ichigaya, many of the regular employees I worked with on the job were major poker lovers, including a few who'd throw their car keys into the pot with perfectly composed faces. Thanks to that, I ended up losing quite a lot of clothing.
I know, right? Shame on you, Oni-chan. Ain't you stricken with guilt for making your girlfriend strip down to her skivvies?
Personally, I think Sachi's losing streak had more to do with the way you people kept asking her which one's the old maid at the end of the round. Of course, Sachi would answer with perfect honesty every time, so she invariably ended up stuck with the Joker in the end. I know, but I didn't want to strip in front of you, Yuuji. She prances around completely naked and shoves her breast against me at every opportunity, but she's self-conscious about this. Sometimes women are just incomprehensible. In any case, I apologize for the unsightly spectacle. No problems on that count. Might have mentioned this before, but my principle is not to refuse what's offered to me. Is it now? You're awfully cold to me, considering. I think it's only natural to get suspicious over that kind of gratuitous service, but as a general rule, men tend to enjoy watching their girlfriends strip down to their underwear, and I'm no exception. Thank you very much. Okay, fair enough. In that case, I think it's about time us third wheels get going. Before anyone can respond to Amanda's sudden declaration, she grabs Makina's hands and pulls a step ahead of us. What's up? You need me for something? Not really. Just thought I could make you a new snack I learned the other day.
Oh, Amanda's been all nice to me out of nowhere. Wait, is it payday?
No, students generally don't receive a salary in the first place.
And it ain't like I'm working some part-time job like Oni-chan neither.
So, why'd you ask the question in the first place?
Just going with the flow.
Okay, that's that. Thanks for putting up with us, Yuuji. Fine by me. I was sort of expecting you to drag me around all day, to be honest. Since your schedule's empty now, why don't you go take Sachi on a date? A date? Yep, you're a couple now and all, so that's par for the course, right? I see. Amanda seems well versed in romantic maneuvering, so if she says so, maybe this is the right timing. Alright, Sachi, how about we go on a date? Yes, certainly.
Never hesitate, does she?
Sachi's a girl herself, you know. Of course she's happy to go out with the guy she likes. I was only consenting to Yukon's request. That's so. Watching Sachi squirm, Amanda smirked suggestively to no one in particular. From that expression, I'm willing to bet she's plotting something. Better keep a careful eye on that one. Okay then, Yuuji, it's up to you now. Right.
Sachi, hit him with the best shot, you got that?
Yes, I don't entirely understand, but thank you, Maki-chan. Okay then, be sure to give us the whole story when you get back. And with those words, Amanda hurries off with the Machina in tow. And there they go. Indeed they do. Well, guess we may as well go on this date then. Ah yes, by all means. Sachi nods obediently, a bright smile on her face. All perfectly typical Sachi, but today that very normality troubles me slightly. It made me wonder if there's really any feeling behind the pleased tone of her voice, if that smile is completely hollow. For the time being, let's change out of our uniforms and meet up in the dorm lobby. Certainly. That's not true. I watched Sachi make her way back to the dorm, trying my best to reassure myself. I do apologize for keeping you waiting. No, that's... maid uniform after all, huh? Even among my many stylish maid uniforms, this is a particularly fashionable model I obtained only recently for outings. As you can see, the red ribbon at the breast is particularly vivid and... Okay, I get it. Actually, I can't see any difference whatsoever, but I suppose I'll have to take the maid expert's word on this one. Right then, as for the plan, we decided this pretty suddenly, so I have absolutely nothing. Yes, I rather thought that might be the case. So for today, I thought we could do whatever you feel like, Sachi. Anything I want to do? That's right. Even if it's cleaning the dorm or bayonet drills, I'm up for it. Whatever you feel like is fine. Let's see then. Sachi places a hand on her cheek and shuts her eyes, and begins to think the matter over. If nothing comes to mind, you can say so. I do apologize. I'm really not much good at putting forward my own suggestions, it seems. Come to think of it, you told me the same thing back when I transferred in. Yes. When she was a kid, Sachi used to constantly invent new games and drag me into them. It's probably safe to say this is another area of her personality strongly influenced by the trauma that incident inflicted on her. Therefore, how about I spend the day accompanying you on some of your typical activities, Yukon? My typical activities usually basically come down to training and reading. Might be a bit of a stretch to call that a date, don't you think?
That's perfectly alright. The specific details are irrelevant. As long as you and I consider it a date, Yukon, that's exactly what it is.
I see. Thanks to JB and Chizuru's incessant grumbling, I had a pretty fixed image of a date as something like dinner at an expensive restaurant with a skyline view. But Sachi's absolutely right. The important thing is what the experience means to the people involved, not whether it meets some arbitrary societal standard. Alright, in that case, why don't you tag along on my training today?
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Keep in mind, my training's no joke. This may be a date, but be sure to approach it with the utmost caution.
Sir, yes sir.
Are you ready, Ranger Kumino?
Yes sir, I've changed into my specialized exercise maid uniform, sir.
10 minutes later, as Sachi holds her rifle, broom, in the classic shouldering position, I bellow my approval. Alright, well done. Also, you will respond to any further orders with an immediate ho-ah. Is that clear?
Ho-ah!
Not bad. You squeal a bit better than your average stock pig. We'll be starting off with a nice easy round of squat jumps. You know the drill?
I've seen a video on the internet before, sir.
Oh, they say you're always prepared, Kumina, and it seems like they're right. If you can't cut it as a ranger, you have a bright future selling cookies with the Girl Scouts. In deference to your shrewdness, I'll permit you to substitute the regulation 3.5 kilogram rifle for that broom of yours.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Sergeant.
Alright then, your target for this drill is 30 repetitions. I hear you've been clambering down schoolhouse walls with those legs. Let's see what they can do.
Hooah! 1, 2, 3, 4.
After offering her energetic assent, Sachi shoulders the broom behind her neck, jumps into the air from a low squat, and alternates her leading foot on the way back down. The movements vaguely resemble the well-known Cossack dance, but the need to leap all the way up every time places a severe strain on your lower body.
15, 16, 17...
As if to demonstrate, Sachi's movements quickly grow sluggish after her 50th repetition. What's the matter, Ranger Kumino? Even a bottle-blonde twin-tailed pseudo-sundera could struggle through that much. Is that maid uniform just for show? Get moving.
Hoa! 17, 18, 19.
Excuse me? I turn around in response to a tap on my shoulder, only to find Amanda standing behind me with an ominous glower on her face. Oh, if it isn't Amanda. Weren't you making Makina a snack or something?
That's already done, so I came to see how things were going. Is this supposed to be the date?
That's right. Sachi asked if you could participate in some of my typical activities.
And so you decided to put her through boot camp style military training?
Yup. Incidentally, the constant shouting helps develop your abdominal muscles. Makes a surprisingly big difference in the results of any exercise routine, in my experience. Give it a try if you ever get anxious about your waist.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. No, hold on. That's not what I'm worried about here. What kind of date is this supposed to be?
Don't follow. Please elaborate.
I mean, come on. Yes, being with the person you like makes anything better, but how many girls out there are going to enjoy playing soldiers on a date?
Probably not that many now that you mention it.
Right, so why didn't you do something a little more normal? Go shopping, see a movie? Anything is better than this.
I get your point, but Sachi did make the request.
Even so, I really think you could be a little more considerate.
In other words, in between drills, bend down and whisper loving words in her ear? Something like that?
No, look, you spend plenty of time reading as well, don't you? You could just take her to the library or something.
True enough, that sounds a bit more like a date. Incidentally, just out of curiosity, what were you planning to do after this? Well, a round trip for one over a run rope bridge, followed by a rope climbing session. Probably would have finished things off with a 10-mile rifle run. Uh-oh. Amane had kept her cool until now, but my latest response is followed by some violent trembling on her part. Something wrong? Need a bathroom break? Don't let me keep you.
That does it, Yuuji! Come with me for a second!
Suddenly exploding with anger, Amane grabs my hand and starts yanking me fiercely along. Hold on, what are you trying to?
Stow it! Shut up and follow me!
Yeah, I get the message, but you can't just leave Sachi training.
Sorry, Sachi, I'm gonna borrow Yuuji for a second, so put a hold on training, okay? Hooah! So you can cut it out with the hooahing now. Yes, certainly. Look at that. Amani's finally snapped. Maki-chan, what are you eating? Some breast milk donuts Amani made. There's plenty to go around, so help yourself, Sachi.
Thank you. These are soy milk donuts, I believe.
Anywho, you look pretty chill about all this. Your boyfriend got abducted, you know? That alright with you?
Well, Amane-san seemed to have some business with him. There's no use making a fuss about it.
Yeah, but what if that business involves gobbling up Oni-chan?
I see. Perhaps she's after that tender thigh meat?
Huh?
No? Then what part of Yukon do you think would be the tastiest, Maki-chan?
Oh, she understood that literally. You're really something else, Sachi.
The roof. After a rough march to the rooftop, I'm forced to sit on my heels under Amane's withering gaze of scorn. Just to be perfectly clear, the purpose of this little exercise is to inspire some contrition on your part. I did understand that much, yes. You're basically saying that squat jumping is an inappropriate choice for a first date, right? Less squat jumping in particular, more the entire drill sergeant routine. I understand that you're a little eccentric, Yuuji, but that's way over the line. Maybe you're right, but Sachi seemed to be enjoying it in a way, didn't she? That's because Sachin is a heartbreakingly good girl. She'll eat eggs on rice with a big smile on her face, but that doesn't mean she really enjoys it the same as steak. I see. Nice analogy. I get it now.
I mean, seriously, it's not like you couldn't have taken her somewhere better, right? You're not totally clueless about what girls enjoy.
Well, I was considering inviting her to a meal at first, I guess.
See, I knew it.
So now I understand that bizarre excuse for a date even less.
What the heck were you thinking?
Amanda glowers down at me, her eyes narrowed in an expression of transparent vexation. Among other things, this whole date idea was her suggestion. She seems truly and earnestly upset that it didn't go well. You have a point. I might have been taking advantage of Sachi's tolerant nature on this one. And for someone who understands how Sachi's mind works and why, that's fundamentally wrong. Even when it comes down to something as small as this. I'm going to talk about something genuinely serious now. Yuuji, you found out the reason Sachin's in the school, didn't you? As she delivered the question in a slightly lower tone of voice, Amanda's eyes bored searchingly into mine. What makes you say that? Don't try to play dumb. Maybe you and Sachin were childhood friends or whatever, but there's absolutely no way you'd randomly ask her to go out with you because of that. You had a reason. Amanda declares this without so much as a moment's hesitation. There's a flat, matter-of-fact certainty in her voice. In other words, this woman is absolutely confident that she understands me. Guess there's no point in pretending then. So I was right? Yeah. I know about the incident that brought Sachi to the school, and I know about the trauma at the root of it all. On the basis of that knowledge, I thought long and hard about what I could do for Sachi as she is today, and ultimately I decided becoming a couple would be an essential step in that process. I get what you're saying, but was that really absolutely necessary? Getting halfway involved isn't going to cut it. The law Sachi imposed on herself is too brittle and too dangerous for that. You all saw for yourself what can happen when those shackles bind her too tightly, didn't you? Amanda gently closes her eyes and holds her silence for a long moment. Okay then, I want to ask you just one last thing. Did you decide to help Sachi before you fell in love with him? And when her eyes open again, they communicate a serious warning. Don't even think about trying to dodge the question. To be completely honest, I don't really know whether I love Sachi or not. But I do know that I was drawn to her. There was something she has that I don't. And I was completely serious about choosing her. I shut my eyes and honestly put my feelings into the clearest words I can. After a moment I hear Amanda sigh softly. Okay, thanks for being honest. Amanda's always approached me with straightforward affection and kindness. In retrospect, I probably should have done her the courtesy of making this equally clear from the start. Alright, mind if I ask you a question of my own? Not really. What about? What is Sachi to you, Amanda? Is that all? Easy enough. She's my friend and I care about her very much. Once more, her response comes without a moment's hesitation. A friend, huh? I mean, Sachi's a really sweet girl and she's a huge help and she's fun to be around. The list goes on and on. So, to be honest, I think you're gonna get the same answer from anyone you ask. As she said those words, there's an almost proud smile on Amanda's face. Anyone who saw that expression would instantly know those words aren't merely polite flattery. Good to hear. I'm all the more convinced now. Mumbling more to myself than Amanda, I finally ease off my heels, flopping down cross-legged onto the warm concrete. Convinced of what? Well, to put it simply, right now I think Sachi needs people like you more than anything else in the world. Huh? What? Sorry, I don't really follow. Well, that's alright. It's more convenient for me that way. What the heck? That's not going to cut it, okay? Alright then. It's nothing complicated. Since you called Sachi your friend, Amanda, I want to ask you a little favor on her behalf. A favor? That's right. If you really care about Sachi, I want you to keep treating her exactly as you have until now. Exactly as I have? Wait, what, something as ordinary as that? I don't think anyone in this place, myself included, has had nearly enough of that sort of ordinary in their life. I'm not trying to say it's as simple as that, but what Sachi needs right now is to realize what she has. My answer's purposefully a bit on the opaque side. Not exactly the concrete explanation of my plans Amanda was clearly looking for, but without a single complaint she quietly searches for the meaning of those words on her own. Okay, if you're saying I can help her that way, I'll do as you say. But I'm not doing it because you asked me. I'm doing it because it's a natural thing to do as Sachi's friend. Yeah, thank you, Amanda. So, Yuuji can say a proper thank you after all? You say something? Nah, it's nothing. Alright. By the way, you may not have realized this yourself, but when you were with Sachi, you started smiling more often than you used to. What? You can take my word for it. I've been watching you real carefully for a while now, after all. Putting her hand on her hip as she speaks, Amanda flashes me a smile that's just a little too spirited to be fully convincing. Amanda? Alright, let's call an end to this little sermon. But one last thing. Since you asked me for a favor, I got one to ask in return. And what is that? Since you shut me down and picked Sachi instead, you darn well better make her happy. With a little wink, Amanda promptly turns her on her heel and leaves the rooftop. Look at me, getting the full kid gloves treatment from a woman. Amanda's got a lot more delicacy than you'd guess. And while I don't want to suggest her gender gives us some universal insight into the female mind, she's taught me a lot of things in her role as unofficial ambassador of young women. I smile more often when I'm with Sachi, huh? I hadn't even been aware, but maybe the reason I chose Sachi had something to do with that as well. Either way, I've already found myself indebted to my classmates' insight and kindness. For once, it seems Chihiro's advice might have been generally worth listening to. And that's where we'll end this episode. So, we shall see how things go without military training onward. But that's all for the next episode. So until then, take care.